Hola!
I'm Johanna.
And I'm Denisse.
Welcome and bienvenidos to the Love and Evolve podcast, where we discuss topics surrounding holistic wellness such as mental, physical, and spiritual health. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer.
Love and Evolve Wellness Podcast is a community space for conversation, growth, and healing. However, it is not a substitute for professional mental or medical care. El podcast no sustituye ayuda psicológica o médica.
We encourage you to seek resources and support in your community. We love you, los queremos mucho, and you matter to us.
Thank you for listening, and on to the show. Okay, are we starting this thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello. Welcome.
Hello. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Blooper.
You are here and joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So we just wanted to say, well, the last couple episodes were pretty heavy, and appropriately so, of course. But we decided, and there I go with an we decided that we are going to share with you some humor in our process in recording our podcast episodes. We thought it might be kind of fun to share a little bit more about what goes behind the scenes.
Yeah, just as Joe was saying, it was a lot of heavy stuff that we talked about, and we wanted to lighten things up, put in a little humor, give a little bit of a bonus episode in a way, and give some behind the scenes, and also hopefully motivate you or inspire you if you've ever thought about starting a podcast, because maybe some of you have been listening and thinking, I want to do that, and how did they do that? So that's also part of this episode today.
Mm-hmm. And also, we wanted to leave you guys on this note before we take our mini break. And we're going to take a week off, and then we're going to be back on schedule on Mondays like we have been up to this point.
A whole week off.
A whole week.
So we're starting this out a little. We've already been listening and talking about our fun times, so we're in a goofy space right now. So hopefully that'll uplift you a bit too to listen into that. But we also want to take a break because it's important to take a break.
Yes, practice what we preach, right?
Yes, absolutely. A reminder out to everyone to take a break, take your rest, so you can keep going and doing what you got to do.
Yeah, and doing what you love, and to do it with all the energy that you really want to put into it.
Yeah. So where should we start?
I was just going to say that. You took the words out of my mouth.
Let's do this. What are we doing? That's usually how all of our episodes start, by the way. What are we doing?
Look at the notes. Wait, is this week? Oh my goodness. So why don't we just start with where, how we decided to go with our first actually, even before our first episode, we had to think of what our introductions would look like and sound like.
Wow. Okay. So that may seem like it's really okay, that's straightforward, right? Let's just script an intro and an outro. We record it, slap it at the beginning and at the end. Done. Yeah, we got it. Bam, done.
No.
Well, I feel like that took us the longest to do. And it was also probably because it was the first thing we tried.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm also really, really nervous. And we started out doing this. Was this for some reason we couldn't see each other. I don't know how that was. I can't remember.
We were doing it with Zencaster when we first started.
Oh, yeah. So there's this program where if you're doing a podcast, and it's great if you're going to have multiple guests come on, because then everyone can dial in. It's free. Whereas with Zoom, as soon as you have more than 2 people and it's over 40 minutes, Joe's doing something really silly. Anyway, she's interrupting me. Basically, Zencaster's free, whatever. The point being, you can't see, I think that's in beta testing where you can have a video. You can't see who you're talking to.
Mm-hmm. And we're doing this remotely because we don't live in the same area. Oh, and then the pandemic, of course.
Pandemic, we're in different states. And so we were like, what, this is so weird. So, I mean, wearing a mask, how hard it is to see someone's facial expressions. You're trying really hard to look at their eyes and seeing what they're saying. You can't tell if someone's smiling at you. So it was kind of like that, where it's like we were waiting for the other person to go. We weren't quite sure what the other person was doing.
There were long gaps of silence, imaginary crickets in the background.
It was a mess. It was a mess. And we were so nervous.
Yeah, and there was also a couple of times where we were recording and all of a sudden I would forget because it was like on the spot. Like I was like, oh my God, I'm hearing my voice now. Like it's just such bizarre feeling of like I'm listening to my voice now. And I've recorded my voice before for like school stuff, but it was just like I could hear myself talk and I was like, oh my God, is that what I sound like?
Yeah, you become really self-conscious all of a sudden hearing yourself in this way where it's not a real normal way, right? We wrote down what we wanted to say because it was important that we communicated certain things. And here we're reading it, and all of a sudden it felt like, we were doing some voiceover for some commercial, and it was like, ready and go. It was like,
hello. We just kept practicing.
How do I say hello? I don't know. Hello.
Oh my goodness. And with that came a lot of laughter. I mean, because we laugh a lot throughout I think our energy together is just, we find the silliest things to laugh about. And it's just so much fun to record with you, Denisse.
Oh, you're fun to record with. So if you're
thinking of the moments where I'm like,
if you're going to do this here, something to think about. There's a lot to think about. And you can look this up on YouTube if you're thinking about how do I do a podcast, because we definitely did our share of that. But find someone you can bear to share space with and laugh with and go through all of that with, because it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time and research. And I know people may think, are aware of how much work it takes, but may underestimate it, the number of hours. And, we care about what we're talking about. So it's like we prepare, we thought about these themes, and we each go and do our homework. We come together, we have meetings, and then we kind of outline how we want the episode to go. And then life happens. Some days we're not feeling well. Some days we can barely keep it together because we're tired or we can't stay awake. Oh man. So
because we do record late, like having to find a time to record it. I remember one time we try to do it differently and we try to do it in the morning, but I cannot function in the morning to save my life. I'm like
we tried at 6 a.m, I think it was. And then we tried Saturdays. And so now what's sticking is basically 8 p.m-ish to do that. So commitment. Yes.
I tend to have a really big problem with my microphone. I go in and out, far away, close to the microphone. I am just a wiggler, like when I talk. And I notice like I get so passionate about something and I'll start moving away from it. And Denisse is like, hey, the mic is over there. And I'm like, wait, what? Literally pointing like the other side. So then she suggested, why don't you move the microphone to the other side? So of course I did that. And then I moved in the other direction.
She moved in the opposite direction. Originally, she's like, no, I can't have the mic there because I'll move away. And so, all right, put it where you're going to be. So she did. And then she moved in the other direction where she said she wouldn't speak. It was the weirdest thing. And I'm making hand signals, like waving at her. And she's just going and talking. I'm like, oh gosh.
But so hopefully, the microphone situation has worked out a little better. Even today, before our recording today, she's like, the mic. Wait, was that today?
Yes. Check that it's plugged in. Microphone set. Headphones are set. Ready, go. All these checks and balances to go through before we start.
Yeah.
And the other things to consider is also, so not just the time of day, so if you're awake enough or not, and also, depending on your schedule, but there are the most random noises. So I mean, right now our heater just went on. I don't know if anyone can hear that in the background, but if you hear something, but usually there is a train going by. So I live maybe 3 minutes worth of walking. So it's like a couple of blocks from the train. And I live right next door to a Catholic church. So the bell, bing. So there are times where this train is going by, going ring. That's not a train sound. I don't know what that was. But, so there's the train.
We're like, ooh.
There's the train, and there's a freight train. So it's the freight train that makes the most noise.
And sometimes my dog is barking. You'll hear my kiddo in the background. I usually record ideally after he goes to bed, but sometimes he's a little later on bedtime. And so while he's trying to go through his bedtime process, he knows I'm here. So he's like, Mom. So that's tough too sometimes.
Yeah, that's all behind the scenes kind of thing. And I've tried to do my best in learning how to edit and cut those little moments out when they happen so that they're not distracting. But I really love it because it's real life. And, you know, we're not in a fancy studio or with fancy equipment where, you know, so honestly, if you want to do this, you can. And I say go for it. Just takes a couple tries and you can do it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, speaking a little bit more about like all the content that the time that we spend on this, like the other day we were kind of doing a tally of like, okay, how many hours are we doing a week? And I mean, how many, I don't remember the number exactly, but I mean, what we're doing is like, because we don't put a name to it, we kind of just go and do the things. But, you know, it's like managing our schedules, managing our different content, and we're planning weeks in advance. So that way, you know, when it's time to record, we get right down to business. So it's managing the content, creating the content, producing the content, doing the thing. And Denisse has been amazing and been editing most of our stuff because I have like, there goes my knowledge of any tech that would not go well. And so, yeah, she's doing amazing with that. And I think just there's so much that goes into it. And then there's uploading it, you know, creating your site if you want to. I mean, you can go as complicated and as simple as you want. And really, it's about getting the experience and putting yourself out there. Yeah. I think that's what's been the most exciting is to be able to really share what we're thinking. And like all these ideas that Denisse and I vibe with, it's like now we can share our knowledge. It's not just stuck in our head, you know?
Yeah, I'm so proud of us. I just looking back and because in the beginning it was so daunting. We thought, really, can we do this? That we, I think, spent months talking about it and brainstorming ideas and trying to create a system of where we would keep all of our ideas and create a workflow process. And then finally just got to the point where we realized, okay, we have all of the stuff. And so we just got to press the button, record and go, you know? And then we did. So we just keep going. And Joe, you had mentioned something about, oh gosh, I gotta go backwards. What did you say?
Was it the weird noises?
No, and I hear the train right now. It's not.
What's it sound like?
Hey. That was the quiet one, not the freight one.
Insert real train diesel engine noise here.
Yeah, insert real train. Not my impersonation of a train. No, you said something about, oh my God, what you said? Oh, you said something. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, and Joe had mentioned something about publishing and uploading episodes and getting a website started. So here I am thinking, I'm telling Joe, okay, this is why I love Joe, because she gets so excited and she's got so many ideas and is like great at just like spitballing things out and putting it all out, right? And I'm the annoying, boring one who's like, well, we gotta have this and this and this. And she's like, yeah, it's fine.
It's logistical planning and administration and all of the above and the important things that need to make this thing work.
And so I said, we should probably look into the systems, like where we're going to upload, and then make sure we test it. So once it's uploaded, to make sure we can
Don't
hear
you
it
just
before
put
you
it up
release
somewhere?
it. She's like, what do you mean? Don't you just upload and it just like plays? And I was like, well, we got to do like a tech check, like make sure this all works. And so we get to the point where we finally upload an episode,
The first one, the very
the
first
first one. And then,
for deadline.
yeah, we're
For
like,
the day
okay,
that
we're
we
going to.
said we were going to launch on January 4th.
Joe was like, no, we're going to make this happen. We set this deadline. We're going to do this. I was like, all right. Okay, we'll do it. And so we're uploading, and then it says, we'll take 2 weeks to process. Oh, that's why we're testing and checking things out. But
yeah, I mean, there was nothing we could do except laugh super hard about it because I was like, I just couldn't believe it would take that long. But so to clarify, like it wasn't all of the different places. We did still meet our deadline, which meant we managed to make it for the launch. But it was, I think it was for Apple that it takes a little bit longer for Apple Podcasts to be available, but it was available on other platforms. So depending on where you submit your stuff, there's different dates that it takes or different amount of time for it to upload.
Each one had its own thing. Apple, you basically, Apple's, I'm an Apple user, so I love Apple products, but it's like PC versus Mac, and they just made it so complicated. And, Spotify, you have to have your own. And then so like for all the different platforms, you have to, thankfully, Buzzsprout that's what we use. They're really easy and great for beginners. And I'm just really happy with that as a platform for hosting.
So easy. And then the other thing I liked about them is that they send us emails from time to time, just like saying, hey, you've done this many uploads. Like it's like celebrating our small victories, and then also sending us tips on like how to use the thing. Because if you don't know what you're doing or it's your first time doing it, like it's coaching you through it. So every week you'll learn something new about how to use Buzzsprout. So that I really appreciate. Because nobody's got time to like go and watch a whole training on it, but they'll send you a little clip. And this is not sponsored, by the way.
Oh, I know. I was just having the same thought. And I was like, hello, is someone from... There's a lot of throat clearing, weird noises we make when we space out. And that's happened a couple times where we space out. Mm-hmm. Either if it might be because of the topic and it's like really heavy and we just kind of space out, or because we're so excited. I think there was a moment, I think, Joe, you remember, where I was talking and
I think I kind of remember.
It was like I left my body. I was talking and then all of a sudden
I do remember staring at you like, you gonna say anything?
I was like, where did you go? I was like, I don't know. It's just like I left somewhere. I don't know what happened. And then all of a sudden I realized I wasn't there anymore and I came back. It was the weirdest. I don't know what we were talking about. Maybe it was values. I don't know. But I just like floated out of my body. It was the weirdest.
I know. Yeah. And then there's also something I wanted to mention is that, it's not always super smooth. So I know like there've been some days where I've had like family stuff come up or I'm just not feeling my best self. I'm like, my mental health is not feeling at its best place. And it's really great to have somebody to lean into and say, hey, can we check in or can we schedule this recording for a different day? And just really being so open about what's going on. Because I mean, we're professional buddies, but I feel like we've really developed such a strong relationship. And I think a lot of that has come to be because we are so transparent. It's like, hey, I've got this going on. I can't today, or I'm stressed, or and then we have our days where we just like call each other and just be silly together. And that's totally fine, like not business related. And so I think we've sort of, without really calling it that, we've been really good about setting boundaries about when we touch base and I have my friend hat on and we touch base and here's my business hat on. I don't know. What do you think, Denise?
Yeah, no, that's been really great. I've had that same experience and that it's so helpful to have someone that understands that life happens, because so many, I know I have a part-time retail job and I don't have the luxury of going in and saying, I'm having something going on or whatever. I mean, I could, but it's different when you can go to somewhere with someone and you feel comfortable to say, "Hey, today's just not going to work out." And I won't be my most productive and I need to take some time for myself. And it's great to be able to do that and feel like my feelings are heard and I'm being validated, and that I can also talk about like non-businessy stuff, right? And just be real and be like, this is what's going on in my life. And either it's like happy stuff or I'm stressed out or I'm sad or, whatever it is. And
Or we're watching novelas. Which one are you watching tonight?
yeah, it's been so great. Yeah, it's been really nice. And then also being able to openly talk about things that bother us.
Mhm.
So when it
Say
is
more.
business related, yeah, it's be like, this just isn't working for me or in my schedule and it's stressing me out, or I think this could be better and how can we fix it? And because I mean, I've had those times where I've worked with people and it's just really hard to have those conversations, or
Mhm.
you or if I've had times where I finally get the guts to say something, and then the person on the other side just kind of nodding their head, and it's like, all right, I know that didn't go anywhere, right? They're just going, uh huh, and I'm like, oh, this really means something to me, and it's important because it's going to help me do
Mhm.
better in my work or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's really been great to be able to do that, and usually it's like, yeah, I've been feeling exactly the same way.
Yeah, no, I was gonna second that. I think I've never actually had this type of a professional relationship where I can say, hey, you said this and I'm not sure I understood, or can you clarify, or, I don't feel good about this, or like, I really truly feel like the relationship we have is a give and exchange. Like, I
Mhm.
know that if I say, hey, Denise, like, I noticed this, or like, maybe we can improve by doing this, I always feel like what I'm saying is heard. And then she makes the choice on whether or not it's going to align with her or not. And then she voices that to me. And I don't take it personally. I think it's like,
Mm.
it's so useful to hear, oh, this is her feedback and this is how she's helping me improve. It's just a give and take. Like, I really truly feel like we're trying to make each other better and just really appreciate where we are at the same time. And I don't know, I like what we have going on, where it's like I can actually give and receive feedback. And
Yeah.
you have a great way of giving feedback. Like, I remember, I think I told you, I was like, wow, I really like what you just did. Like, I'm noticing you're giving me feedback. I don't know if that's what you're intending, but I like it. Like, I do need help in that area. And I just have some people that I work with that, like, the feedback they give you is just so mean, or like the way it's done is not graceful, or it's more like critical than it is constructive, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Oh yeah, totally. I get that too. I wish it didn't have to be so hard or so hard to come by people that you could just talk to openly. Like you don't have to be their best friends. Like I've been lucky enough to experience this hand very few times where there are people that I've worked with where it was like, I'm not buddy buddy with them, but the work relationship is great enough where I can go up to them and feel comfortable and share my thoughts and feelings, my concerns. And it's like, cool, I feel good about coming to work because of that
Mhm.
relationship there. It's so helpful.
And of course, it's not to say like I don't think we haven't had any conflicts, have we?
No, yeah. I
It's been
mean,
pretty good.
yeah, things where we're just like, oh man, I don't know, that just kind of bugs me a bit, but it's like nothing that's ever, and it probably helps that we have so many of the same like values, and we kind of see things in very similar ways, that it just creates a better atmosphere for us to be able to hear each other out.
Yeah. I think too, like, I mean, for me, when I did my clinical training, there was a course that really spent some time talking about conflict and how to address it. Because, you see clients, like sometimes you might say something that doesn't sit right with the client. And then you have people that will say something and some people that won't. And it just made me really be aware of like, okay, am I, if, I can't talk now. It's getting late, guys. This is what starts happening. It's getting late. Estaba diciendo, oh my God. Exhibit A.
Yeah, usually it's where was I going with this?
Yeah,
I
where
don't
was
know.
I? I have
Hold
no
on.
idea. I started remembering a class.
By the way, okay, so I try not to over edit, but there are times where talking about behind the scenes, we say so many and
Oh,
so that's for me. For me, I say lots of ands, so's, like the number of I think you appreciate or would appreciate if you knew how many we say that I was like, delete that extra delete. But at the same time, let us know if you like a little bit of this kind of more back and forth, a little bit more into uh maybe more of our personality. Does that seem right? I don't
mhm.
know.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah.
Maybe. I feel like we tend to share more because of the topics that we share, they tend to be a little bit more serious, but
Hmm.
I think we're also trying to figure out how can we let our personalities come through a little bit more and also still respect the topics that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Um, and then in regards to I remember looking up like there's got to be a reason why I say this so much. And all I could find was that it's like a habit or like an anxious habit. Don't quote me. I was doing it again. Don't quote me. But the suggestion was rather than saying to pause. I'm like imagining myself doing that. Oh my god, I was so dramatic. Like, let me hold on 1 second until I figure out what it is I'm gonna say. Hold on. Okay, I'm ready now. You cannot see the news right now, but she just like went on.
I can't. Oh, that was so funny. It just helps being able to see each other's faces.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
our okay, we've kind of gone all over the place. So we started this because we wanted to, lighten things up, share a couple of our little bloopers behind the scenes of what it's like, but also talk a little bit about our process of what it's like to record a podcast. And a lot of that is finding someone, if you wanted to do a co hosting kind of a podcast,
Mhm.
of what it's like to have a working relationship with someone, right? And so we've been sharing a bit about what it's like to work with each other. Um, and if,
We have so much fun. Like I feel like we're not really
yeah,
sharing that, but we have so much fun. We do these. I don't know if you guys have heard of Google Duo, but we send videos to each other from time to time with like these filters and just talk business through these filters. And sometimes they're just random, and it's just awesome. I
it's
think.
like really serious topics. We're like, did you check this? And then Joe's wearing like a Christmas tree, and she's like, so this other thing, blah, 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 blah. It's just.
One time you were like, I can't, you just need to tell me what you said in that because I can't even watch the whole thing.
I couldn't even watch it because it was just Christmas tree the entire time, and I just couldn't handle it.
Dolphin.
Oh, it was a dolphin. She was breaking down about like, I'm having a really hard day, and she's this flying dolphin through an ocean. And I was like, Joe, I can't. It's just
You said you were getting seasick from it. I'm like, what? Like, but I really had a hard day.
I get really motion sickness. She's pouring her heart out while she's a flying dolphin. I don't know. Oh man, I don't know if this will make any sense to anyone, but we hope it
I
brings you a
remember.
little comic relief.
I remember what I was saying earlier. So my point was is that so I remember feeling in that clinical classroom like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like I feel like from this moment on, when conflict happens, I looked at it as an opportunity to learn something new. So it's like rather than going into my feeling space, which I used to do a lot of, where it's like I feel hurt because someone said something. What is the message that I'm trying to receive, and how can I learn from this? How can this benefit me? How can this, and not in like a selfish way, but just kind of
Mhm.
like oh, this is like a compass telling me where I might need work, whether it's how to listen to the other person because it's not about you, it's about the other person, like being there for that person. And then also like what is it that I still need to work through some more. Anyway, the point was is that I think because of that, when we have our discussions, it feels more like interaction for improvement and not so much like, you did this wrong, Joe. Like, I don't know what voice that was.
I don't know either. I don't sound like that, do I?
I don't know what that was. I have to reflect on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll leave you with this. We are human here. Let me try again. We are human. Oh, boys.
Go ahead.
I'd like to leave you with this. We are human. And if you are called to start a podcast, do it. You all have something wonderful and amazing to share within you, and the world is ready to hear it. It's just a matter of you being ready to share it. And also, it may be funky at the beginning and you might not really figure it out, or maybe you're just a sav and you will, but it takes time and you'll find your groove. And maybe you'll laugh at yourself through it. Or maybe you'll find love, you'll find laughter, you'll find great friendships, but we encourage you to follow through and do it.
Yeah, just give it a try. In some ways, I wish I had started sooner. In other ways, I don't, because I feel like this was supposed to happen how it was supposed to happen. But yeah, I've been wanting to do this for such a long time, and I don't know why I didn't just like go for it. You know what I mean? But I'm really glad that I get to do this with you, Joe.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. And we just found out yesterday, I got all excited because I was looking at our Instagram and we have both our names up there. It says Johanna and Denisse. And I was noticing our names. I was like, that's interesting. Huh. I counted the letters. We each have 7 letters in our name. And we both have a double letter.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in the same place.
Oh. I didn't notice all that.
So Denisse. Mm-hmm. Yours is Johanna. Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay. It's just yeah, little buzzy feeling, it's like this is just meant to happen. So
and well, if you've listened we also do that a lot. I'm sorry.
Rewind.
After you.
Well, now I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say today we wanted to do today we want to do something different. And we wanted to leave you with a fun fact. And by fun fact, it is from helpguide.org. So however trusted that site is, this is what we found. A good hearty laugh relieves physical tension and stress, leaving your muscles relaxed for up to 45 minutes after. Laughter boosts the immune system. Laughter decreases stress hormones and increases immune cells and infection-fighting antibodies, improving your resistance to disease.
Yes.
So laugh away.
I like that fun fact. Laugh away, put on a really good movie, listen to some comedian.
Some weird dance moves. That's a wrap.
Now, done. We thank you for sharing your time with us and for listening to the Love and Evolve podcast, where we share tools, resources, and education on topics that cover holistic wellness, encompassing mind, body, and spirit.
Find details on how to stay connected with us in the show notes. We'd love to hear from you. Les damos un fuerte y enorme abrazo. Mwah.
Mwah.